What if you could navigate the often complex world of money, generosity, and charity, not just with good intentions, but maybe with some profound wisdom?
Hmm.
Ancient philosophy guiding every choice.
Hmm.
Many of us aspire to be truly generous,
Yeah.
right, to make a meaningful difference. But what does it really mean to give wisely, effectively, and well with a virtuous heart?
That is a powerful question. It really pushes us beyond just the surface act of giving something.
Yeah.
It makes us look at the foundations, the motivations, and, the actual impact of what we do. Is just handing over resources enough? Or does real philanthropy demand something deeper, like a connection to our core values?
And a clear-eyed assessment of the situation, maybe. Understanding what truly benefits the common good.
Exactly. What really helps.
That's precisely the challenge we're embracing today. Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're embarking on a pretty fascinating journey, I think, into Stoic philosophy. We're going to explore how figures like Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, the big names, how they approached wealth, generosity, and this concept they called preferred indifference.
Right.
Now, you might think, okay, philosophy is from millennia ago. What can they offer on modern charity? But you're about to discover a remarkably practical framework. It's quite robust, actually.
It really is. Stoicism, as we'll definitely see, offers a powerful way to use your resources. And that's not just money, right?
No, not at all. Time, talents, energy.
All of it. To truly benefit yourself and the wider human community, there's connection there.
So our mission in this deep dive, essentially, is to pull out the core, actionable insights on Stoic philanthropy.
Yeah, let's unpack that idea of using external things like wealth in a genuinely virtuous way. And maybe clarify that crucial distinction between just giving.
Versus giving effectively.
Yeah.
Giving intentionally.
Exactly. We want to help you understand not just what these Stoics thought, but more importantly, why these ideas are still incredibly relevant, practical for how you approach generosity in your own life today.
It's about cultivating something more robust, maybe. More reasoned.
And ultimately more impactful, a more impactful approach to making a difference.
Okay, let's dive in. To really get the Stoic view on philanthropy, we need to lay down the philosophical groundwork first.
Definitely. Got to understand the foundation.
We need to understand their basic beliefs about what truly makes for a good life. So, let's rewind the clock. Ancient Athens, birthplace of Stoicism.
Indeed. Our story kicks off around 300 BC, Athens, bustling city. And it's there that Zeno of Citium, originally a merchant, interestingly, who'd lost everything in a shipwreck.
Wow, really?
Yeah, he founded the school of Stoicism, and he taught his philosophy not in some grand academy, but from a public colonnade, the Stoipoikio.
The painted porch.
That's the one. A vibrant public space, murals on the walls. Anyone could gather, engage with these, frankly, radical new ideas back then.
And from these sort of humble beginnings, the school just flourished. Its appeal spread across society for centuries.
It really did.
It is quite remarkable how widely it was embraced.
Well-
I mean, you find Stoicism influencing people like Epictetus,
Born a slave.
born a slave,
Hmm.
and then becomes this renowned philosopher. And on the other end, Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome.
Literally ruling the known world.
Right. Their lives, their situations, their challenges couldn't be more different.
Poles apart.
Yet both found Stoicism to be this practical, universal guide for living well. Doesn't that just speak volumes about how applicable his teachings are? Timeless, deeply human.
Absolutely. And right at the very core of Stoicism is this foundational belief. Virtue is the sole constituent of happiness.
The only thing.
The only thing that makes up happiness. They called it eudaimonia. We translate it as living well or flourishing.
Okay.
And this is a critical difference from, say, Aristotle. He thought virtue was central, sure, but that a truly happy life also needed a bit of good fortune, external things, health, wealth, maybe even good looks.
Right. Aristotle needed some external goods. So for the Stoics, happiness isn't this fragile thing. Something bad luck can just snatch away.
Exactly. It's an internal state, something you cultivate within yourself.
Okay.
They saw this kind of happiness as, well, impregnable. An all-or-nothing affair, they sometimes called it. Complete at any given moment, totally independent of what's happening outside.
So it's not something you build up over time based on what happens to you.
No. Zeno famously defined happiness as a good flow of life, an inner harmony. Seneca later described it beautifully as peacefulness and constant tranquility.
Peacefulness and constant tranquility. That sounds pretty good.
Doesn't it? This deep, unshakable inner peace, immune to external events, that was the ultimate goal. The core idea here. True happiness is entirely an inside job.
It's not in your circumstances.
It's in your character, your judgment.
I love that phrase, good flow of life. It makes me think of Socrates, actually. His powerful idea that the condition of our soul dictates the quality of our lives. He famously chewed out the Athenians, didn't he? For prioritizing their bodies and possessions over caring for their souls. Arguing that our inner state, what we think, believe, value, our character, that's what really determines our well-being.
Definitely. The Stoics saw Socrates as a key philosophical ancestor. They really picked up that thread he started.
They didn't just nod to him, they built on it.
They built right on his insistence that the true good lies in our inner character, in virtue, not in external stuff. Where Socrates urged Athenians to care for their souls, the Stoics formalized that. They made it a whole system, emphasizing the self-sufficiency of virtue and that inner fortress, our pro-herasesis.
Right, the volition, the will.
Which brings us directly to another fundamental Stoic teaching, the dichotomy of control.
Yes, the big one.
Epictetus, that amazing former slave we mentioned, made this absolutely central. He taught it to everyone, slaves, emperors, didn't matter. He urged everyone, and us today, to distinguish rigorously between what is mine, what's truly up to me, and what is not mine, what's outside my complete control.
Right, that's a concept many people, myself included, really grapple with. So what is truly in our control according to them? Because honestly, sometimes it feels like very little is.
Epictetus was crystal clear on this. What is truly in our control? Our volition, our proherasis, our judgments, our desires, our aversions, our actions.
So internal stuff.
Completely internal. They belong to our mind, our will, our inner command center, you could say. Things like whether we choose to agree with an impression that pops into our head, how we interpret a situation, how we decide to respond. This, he said, is our inner citadel.
A fortress of the mind.
Exactly. A fortress no external force can breach. It's your ultimate freedom. Even if everything else is constrained, your mind, your choices remain your own. That's the takeaway.
Yeah.
Your inner world is your domain. Guard it, cultivate it. It's the only place you're truly in command.
And conversely, what falls entirely outside our control? What are the things we often mistakenly try to control, leading to so much frustration?
Pretty much everything else. Our bodies, their health, their aging, our possessions can be lost in an instant, our reputation, what other people think. Our health, again, can fail, our social status, all external circumstances, poverty, illness, criticism, even death itself.
All not up to us.
Why not up to us? Epictetus had this incredibly powerful line drawing on his own life as a slave. You can fetter my leg, but not even Zeus can overcome my volition.
Wow.
He meant, sure, you can chain my body, but my mind, my judgment, my internal freedom, that remains inviolable. He chose how to respond to being enslaved.
That's profound and incredibly liberating, actually, when you think about it. So the direct consequence of really embracing this dichotomy is, well, if you tie your happiness, your well-being, to things outside your control.
You're handing over the keys.
You're handing over your inner peace to external whims, which leads inevitably to frustration, disappointment, a life constantly battered by forces you just can't command.
Precisely. If your happiness depends on having loads of money, or perfect health, or everyone liking you, or a specific outcome, you're setting yourself up for failure because you're striving for things you can't fully control. And that, by definition, makes you vulnerable to unhappiness.
But the Stoics weren't saying these external things are inherently bad, right?
No, not at all. They just made it super clear that they couldn't be the source of your happiness. Nor could their absence prevent you from being virtuous. And understanding that is absolutely key to grasping our next big concept.
Which brings us perfectly to preferred indifference. It's one of those Stoic terms that maybe at first sounds a bit cold, abstract, almost dismissive of real-world stuff.
It can sound that way, definitely, but like so much in Stoicism, once you unpack it, it's incredibly practical and nuanced.
Okay, unpack it for us.
So things like money, good health, a solid reputation, even having a nice house. These are what the Stoics call indifference.
Indifferent?
Because, as we just discussed, they are neither inherently good nor inherently bad in themselves when it comes to achieving happiness, eudaimonia. Virtue is the sole good. Happiness flows from inside, from your character, your judgments. Whether you have money or not doesn't, by itself, make you virtuous or vicious.
And this idea has deep roots, right? Goes back to Socrates again.
Very much so. Socrates was on a similar track. He taught that material wealth is basically value neutral. Its moral quality depends entirely on the person using it.
How they choose to use it.
Exactly. A virtuous person might use money for great good. A non-virtuous person could use it for harm, self-indulgence, exploiting others. The money itself isn't the problem. It's the character and intent of the user.
Okay, makes sense.
And the challenge, but also the brilliant nuance, comes in that word preferred. Preferred indifference. The Stoics recognize that while these things don't make you happy, you don't just ignore them either. They aren't completely indifferent in a practical sense in how we live our lives.
That's a key clarification.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it might sound like they're just advocating for, being a hermit.
Yeah.
Total detachment from the world.
Right, like total asceticism. But that's not really what the mainstream Stoics taught. It's a common misunderstanding.
So what did they teach then?
Well, some early Stoics, like a guy named Aristo of Chios, did hold a more extreme view. He thought external things were so indifferent they had absolutely no bearing on rational action. Zero.
Okay.
But mainline Stoics, starting with Zeno himself, rejected that. They argued that indifference do carry weight in rational deliberation. They have what's called a selective advantage, a natural preference or dispreference.
A selective advantage. What does that mean exactly? How do you select?
It means that preferred indifference, like health or money, are chosen and valued in accordance with nature and reason. They can be instrumental, useful, in acting virtuously, even if they don't directly make you happier in the Stoic sense.
Give me an example.
Think of it like this. Having good health isn't virtue itself, but it can certainly make it easier to perform your duties, right? To help others, to learn, to engage fully with life in the community.
Sure.
Similarly, money isn't virtue, but it can be used in incredibly virtuous ways, alleviating suffering, supporting justice, fostering education. These things are naturally preferred over their opposites, like ill health or poverty, but they remain external, outside our ultimate control, and not intrinsically good.
Ah, okay. So they're fundamentally tools. Like a skilled carpenter doesn't obsess over the hammer itself, right?
Yeah.
They care about using it skillfully to build something good. The hammer isn't good or bad, but its use can be.
That is a perfect analogy. Epictetus himself used a brilliant one about skillful ball players.
Oh, yeah.
He said none of them cares about the ball as if that were something good or bad. They just focus only on the skillful act of throwing and catching it, playing the game well. The ball itself, indifferent. The skill in using it, playing well. That's what matters.
So the core insight there is that money, like health or reputation, it's a potent tool. Your job isn't to worship the tool,
No.
but to master its ethical and effective use.
That's it, exactly.
So following that analogy, Stoics aren't focused on piling up money for its own sake or being defined by how much they have,
Absolutely not.
but rather on the skillful use of money. Being a master of the tool, figuring out its proper use, and not becoming a slave to the treasure itself, the money serves you and your virtue, not the other way around.
Precisely. The danger, as one source, the practicing Stoic points out, is striving too hard for wealth or pleasure or reputation. These things are only worth wanting a little or not at all, because when we get overly attached, when we make them our main goal,
We lose sight of what actually matters.
yeah, our inner state, our virtue, our ability to act rationally, the money isn't the problem, it's the insatiable attachment to it. The false belief that it is the good, that's what corrupts. So, the key insight, don't chase wealth, pursue its virtuous deployment.
That's a powerful shift in perspective, especially when we start thinking about generosity, charity. It moves us from a purely transactional idea, maybe even just an emotional one,
Right.
to something more intentional, virtuous, deeply rooted in philosophy, which leads us naturally to the Stoic approach to generosity and the common good, which, as you hinted, goes way beyond just self-interest.
Indeed. And to really get this, we need to bring in another key concept. Oikiosis.
Okiosis, okay.
Often translated as appropriation or familiarization. It's a profound idea. It explains how humans have both self-regarding instincts, self-preservation, wanting well-being for ourselves, and sociable instincts, an innate drive to connect with and care for others.
So it's not just about me, myself, and I, even with all that focus on the inner citadel and personal control. There's a fundamental social dimension built right in.
Absolutely. And this is where it gets really interesting philosophically. Epictetus makes this crucial, maybe slightly counterintuitive argument. He says it is not antisocial to do everything for one's own sake.
Wait, how does that work?
Because, as he puts it, the rational animal's nature can attain none of its own goods unless it contributes something to the common interest. Our individual well-being, our flourishing, our eudaimonia is intrinsically linked, woven together with the well-being of the wider human community.
Okay, let me see if I get this. Acting for your own good, in the true Stoic sense, requires you to act for the common good. It's not self-sacrifice in the way we usually think of it,
No.
but more like a fulfillment of your deepest, most rational nature, a convergence.
That's exactly it, a profound reframing, and this connects directly to the Stoic idea of world citizenship, cosmopolitanism, and a sense of kinship with God, meaning the universal rational order of the cosmos.
So understanding our place in the big picture.
Right. By properly understanding our place in this cosmic order, our role as rational beings, we realize our fundamental interconnectedness with all humanity. This understanding naturally leads to an expansive sense of duty, a commitment to the human community, a shared responsibility. As Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, we're all parts of a larger whole designed to cooperate.
Like fingers on a hand.
Exactly. So the core insight, true self-interest, when understood through reason, is inseparable from the common good. You cannot genuinely flourish alone.
And this commitment to the common good, it naturally extends to philanthropic action. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, trying to live this stuff daily.
In the corridors of power.
Right. He placed a huge emphasis on this. He said the discipline of action consists precisely in acting in the service of the human community.
In other words, in practicing justice oneself and in correcting injustices.
For him, this wasn't just abstract thought, not academic debate. It was a daily imperative, a fundamental part of being emperor.
He also wrote really powerfully, beautifully sometimes, about the purpose of our lives here on Earth, reminding us to procure the welfare of men, and saying that charitable actions and a holy disposition is the only fruit of this earthly life.
The only fruit. Strong words.
Very strong. And for Marcus, contemplating the vast interconnectedness of the whole world, he called it the view from above, picturing all of time and space.
Like zooming out.
Exactly. That was a powerful meditative tool for him. It helped him understand his own small but significant role and to act consistently for the common good. It's about seeing yourself not as an isolated individual, but as an integral part of one single rational cosmic system with duties to that whole.
That's such a dramatically different way of looking at generosity compared to just, feeling pity or being moved by a fleeting emotion to give something.
Totally different.
It's more deliberate,
Right,
philosophical, rooted in reason and duty, not just sentiment. Which brings us to a really important, maybe challenging aspect of Stoic generosity, giving wisely, going beyond mere pity.
This is where Epictetus offers some particularly sharp, maybe even unsettling advice.
Oh.
When you encounter someone in distress, say a beggar on the street, he warns against what he calls emotional voyeurism, or just indulging your heartstrings.
He doesn't want us to feel compassion.
It's not that he's suggesting coldness, quite the opposite. He's suggesting that unexamined emotional reactions, while natural, can actually jeopardize our rational volition, our pro-haircaris, and ultimately lead to ineffective, maybe even counterproductive action. Your emotions might make you feel good for giving.
But not actually do good for the other person.
Potentially, yes, or not do the most good you could.
Okay, so if just feeling bad isn't the ideal Stoic response, what is the reasoned approach when you see suffering? How do you channel that initial gut reaction?
Instead of that fleeting emotional response that might lead to an unthinking or unhelpful act, Epictetus says, translate that external impression, the sight of distress, into a moral first-person question.
Okay, like what?
Ask yourself, what is required of me as someone trying to be philanthropic in relation to this person? Or what, if anything, should I be trying to do about this in accordance with reason and virtue?
It forces you to pause and think.
Exactly. It ensures your response is based on correct Stoic values, wisdom, justice, courage, moderation, on reasoned action, on a genuine desire for effective aid, rather than just satisfying a passing emotional impulse or, frankly, alleviating your own discomfort at seeing suffering.
Right. Sometimes giving makes us feel better more than it helps the recipient.
It can. So this is a call to examine your judgments about the situation. Apply wisdom and justice. Don't just react. The core insight here. Don't just feel, think. Compassion is best served when it's channeled through reason, leading to effective action, not just comforting gestures.
That's a crucial distinction for anyone who cares about truly impactful philanthropy. It's not about squashing compassion, but about guiding it with wisdom to achieve real, effective help. There's an anecdote from Machiavelli's Discourses on Livy, obviously not a Stoic text, but it illustrates this point well.
Oh, interesting.
What is it? He talks about the Roman Senate during a siege. They relieved the poor of some burdens, which was appreciated, sure. But Machiavelli notes that benefits given under compulsion, or maybe out of necessity, are less valued, less impactful on public goodwill than those given freely out of genuine goodwill.
Ah, yeah.
It highlights the importance not just of the act of giving, but the underlying intention and the circumstances. It's not just the action, but the spirit behind it that matters.
That's a fantastic parallel because for the Stoics, the intention, the internal disposition is absolutely paramount. Giving out of a deep sense of duty, reasoned benevolence, a considered commitment to the common good, that's fundamentally different from giving just to make yourself feel better about seeing suffering or because you feel pressured into it.
One builds character and serves the community.
While the other might just be superficial, a Band-Aid.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting, and maybe a bit thorny even back then. We have to talk about Seneca.
Ah, Seneca, yes.
Because when we discuss Stoicism, wealth, philanthropy, Seneca's life presents a bit of a puzzle, doesn't it? He was incredibly wealthy, chief advisor to Emperor Nero.
Right in the snake pit of power.
Exactly. And yet, he wrote so extensively, so beautifully on ethics, often praising the simple, modest life, detachment from material things.
He certainly did. And it's a paradox that's bothered people for centuries. Seneca's personal situation was, let's say, complex.
Understatement.
He was at the heart of power, amassed huge wealth. He even got shares of Britannicus's property, Nero's stepbrother, after Britannicus died under suspicious circumstances.
Oof.
Yeah. Which, understandably, led to harsh criticism. Tacitus, the Roman historian, mentioned the revulsion in Rome, describing how men who affected moral seriousness were splitting up houses and estates like booty. People definitely questioned his sincerity. Hypocrisy was the charge.
So how did Seneca, or how did Stoicism more broadly, square that circle? Was he just a hypocrite? Or was there a deeper Stoic justification for having wealth? A way to hold it without being held by it?
It's highly likely Seneca operated with, let's call them, orthodox Stoic justifications for his wealth, even if sometimes he did indulge in what one source calls cynic-style rants against affluence, which might have been more about rhetoric than practice.
Okay.
But the core Stoic distinction, remember, is between possessing wealth, which is an indifferent, neither good nor bad in itself, and being attached to it. That's the vice.
The attachment is the problem.
Exactly. Seneca himself often wrote about striving for Stoic ideals, but not always hitting the mark. His own life suggests this constant internal struggle, trying to live up to his philosophy, recognizing his own flaws even as he preached the ideal. He was human, living in very difficult times.
He acknowledged his imperfections.
Oh, frequently. In one letter, he basically says, look, I'm not a perfect wise man, but I'm trying really hard. I'm an earnest seeker after virtue.
That's a crucial nuance, and it resonates today, right? It's not about rejecting wealth itself or aiming for poverty, but rejecting the love of wealth, the enslavement to it, being able to have it without needing it, and ideally using it for good.
Exactly right. Stoicism sees emotions like fondness for money or any obsessive craving for external things as stemming from a false judgment, a supposition that money is a fine thing, meaning a belief that money is a good in the same way that virtue is good.
Which is a fundamental error for them.
A fundamental error in judgment, a misidentification of what truly leads to eudaimonia. If you believe money is the ultimate good, you've misunderstood what makes for a truly flourishing life. And that misconception inevitably leads to suffering, attachment, anxiety. The core insight. Possessing wealth is indifferent. Being possessed by it is the vice. Your challenge is to master your resources, not be mastered by them.
So the ultimate goal here is freedom from attachment, even to things that might be useful or nice to have, like wealth. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, has that direct, quite profound advice on this.
Which bit are you thinking of?
Receive temporal blessings without ostentation when they are sent, and thou shalt be able to part with them with all readiness and facility when they are taken from thee again.
Ah, yes. Powerful.
It's a truly challenging thought, isn't it, to hold on to wealth or health or reputation so lightly, ready to just let it go at any moment.
It's profoundly challenging, absolutely. But it gets to the very heart of Stoic practice, clearing the mind of foolishness and misjudgment about externals. The aim isn't to avoid preferred indifference entirely,
Not necessarily.
but to use them skillfully, virtuously, without letting them control your inner peace, dictate your happiness, or corrupt your character. It's about being truly free internally, even when surrounded by wealth or when facing its sudden loss. That mental freedom, that's the real Stoic treasure.
That's a perfect segue into our final section, because all of this understanding what really matters, using preferred indifference as tools, approaching generosity with intention, It all requires serious inner work.
Oh, definitely.
It's not a theory you just read and then, boom, you apply it once.
Yeah.
It's a daily thing, continuous practice, a lifelong project, really.
It certainly is. Epictetus famously used that metaphor of the philosopher as a doctor for the soul.
Right. And the school's a hospital.
And the school's a hospital for souls. The philosopher's main job, then, is to help us examine our beliefs. What do we think is truly good? What will genuinely benefit us? Just like a medical doctor helps a patient deal with physical problems or unhealthy habits.
The philosopher helps us confront mistaken judgments, irrational fears, unhealthy attachment.
Exactly. It's a therapeutic process, fundamentally, not just intellectual.
And central to this treatment is constant, vigilant attention to our impressions, what comes into our minds, and using impressions correctly, aligning them with our rational nature. This isn't passive reflection, is it? It sounds incredibly active.
Very active. It requires real mental discipline. It involves a continuous conscious effort to filter every impression, test it, respond appropriately. Is this up to me? Is it not? How should I judge this?
And part of this inner work is that practice of daily self-reflection, often using specific questions.
Yes, we have records of Stoics doing this, really pointed self-examination. Seneca, for instance, would ask himself things like, what bad habit did you work on today? Or what vice did you resist?
Holding yourself accountable.
Totally. Epictetus encouraged similar questions. What did you do wrong today? What did you do right? What impression did I fail to manage properly?
I find those questions incredibly practical, almost like a daily character audit. It makes philosophy actionable, something you do every day, not just think about abstractly.
Exactly. And this consistent exercise helps you become acutely aware of your motives, your progress, where you're slipping up. Crucially, it also acts as a check. Are my desires pro-social?
Pro-social, meaning?
Meaning, are they genuinely for the welfare of others? If they are rooted in virtue, you won't regret them. In fact, a pro-social desire enhances your own inner peace, this continuous effort to make your prohairesis, your moral will.
Make it harmonious with nature.
Right? Elevated, free, unimpeded, trustworthy, respectful. That's genuine progress in Stoicism. It's about building a consistent, rational, virtuous moral character, bit by bit, day by day. The core insight. Consistent self-examination is the compass. It keeps your moral ship on course, making sure your actions are truly virtuous and contribute positively.
And this unwavering commitment to the common good also really shapes how we understand our various roles and responsibilities in the world. You mentioned Cicero earlier, influenced by Stoics like Panaetius. He outlined 4 key roles, or personae, for humans. Can you walk us through those and how they connect to a philanthropic spirit?
Sure. These roles offer a really useful framework. First, there's our universal human identity. This comes from our shared capacity for reason. It unites all humans, elevates us above other animals. This fundamental nature comes with duties to all rational beings.
Okay, basic humanity.
Second is our individual personality, our unique makeup, temperament, talents, physical characteristics, predispositions, what makes you you. Third is our contingent identity. This is the stuff largely down to chance or society, social status, wealth or poverty, nationality, family ties, all the external circumstances life throws at you.
The hand you're dealt.
Pretty much. And fourth is our chosen career or calling, the specific jobs, pursuits, professions we decide to take on.
Okay, so 4 layers. Universal human, individual self, social circumstances, and chosen work. How do these guide a Stoic's philanthropy? How do they help decide how and where to give, what your unique obligations might be?
Well, the Stoics urged us to act virtuously in accordance with all these roles. First and foremost, act according to your general human nature, that rational, pro-social nature that dictates a duty to all humanity, universal benevolence.
Got it.
Then consider your specific individual nature. Choose ways of giving, pursuits where your unique talents can be most effective. What are you good at? Use that.
Play to your strengths.
Exactly. Then recognize your contingent identity, your wealth, your position, your connections, your opportunities. Whatever hand you've been dealt, play with propriety. Fulfill those roles and duties responsibly. Maybe your wealth gives you a greater capacity to give financially, for example.
So use the resources you have.
Use them wisely. This whole framework helps you define your unique opportunities and obligations for acting philanthropically. It's always tailored to your specific circumstances and capabilities. Your ability to contribute will vary based on these roles, but the underlying imperative to contribute to the common good, that remains constant. It's about playing your part, whatever it is, as best you can for the benefit of all. Aligning your unique abilities with those universal duties, the ultimate insight. Your unique life circumstances aren't just random, they're opportunities. Opportunities to fulfill your universal human duty to contribute to the greater good in your own specific way.
Wow. So we've covered a lot of ground today. A real deep dive into how Stoicism offers this, well, profound and really practical perspective on wealth and generosity.
Yeah.
It's so much more than just simple, maybe spontaneous acts of giving.
Much more.
It emphasizes the intention, the wisdom, the virtuous, skillful use of these preferred indifference. You've learned that true happiness, for them, comes from within, cultivating virtue, rational judgments, not from external possessions, whether you have lots or little,
Right.
and that by consciously acting in service of the common good, you actually align with your deepest, most rational nature. You fulfill your purpose as a human being.
Yeah, this deep dive really shows that Stoic philanthropy isn't about, blind charity or grand performative gestures just to look good.
No virtue signaling here.
Definitely not. It's about a clear-eyed, rational assessment of what's truly valuable. A deep, reasoned commitment to acting with virtue for the benefit of everyone. It demands continuous, rigorous self-awareness, constantly checking your motives, refining your judgments.
Hard work.
It is, and it's about recognizing that your own true well-being is intrinsically tied to the well-being of the whole human community, which makes generosity not just a nice option,
But a rational necessity.
a rational necessity for a truly flourishing life, according to them.
So here's a final provocative thought for you to mull over long after this deep dive wraps up. If you were to truly view your wealth, your time, your talents, not as personal possessions to hoard or show off, but as preferred indifference, as potent tools entrusted to you by universal nature to be used virtuously and for the common good, how might that fundamental shift in perspective change what you choose to give, how you choose to give it, and ultimately the lasting, authentic impact you aim to create in the world?